I hope you enjoy these videos that Ginger Animus made of me 4 years ago. The only home I owned was in Sunnyvale, California, a sleepy little village of about 14,000 people. And has it grown since then? Now, somewhere along the line, Sylvania transferred me down for 5 years into a plant that they built in Santa Cruz. For one of those 23 PhDs was heading up one of the avenues of basic research, Dr. Bert McMurtry. It was fantastic. I practically had to learn a whole new language to begin to understand a lot of this. By this time, I'd been transferred back to the research laboratories in Mountain View, and first thing I knew, I was dating my executive secretary. Her husband had been killed in a shooting accident. My wife was long gone. And after 14 years total with Sylvania, in December 1970, my executive secretary and I were married, and we both retired from Sylvania. That ended that particular career. When I married my executive secretary, or when we got married, we each owned our own home, and we each sold our homes, combined forces, and we bought a 2-story, 6-bedroom, 3.5-bath house, and we all moved in there. All of my kids that were still home, and one of hers. Well, I had to have something to do. I couldn't be idle. So I took a real estate exam. I had helped coach a friend into passing first to get a license as a real estate agent, and then later to get promoted to a broker. So I had no problem. I passed the exam on the first try. To take your exam, you have to be sponsored by a broker with whom you'd be expected to hang your license once it's issued to you. And this was in Santa Clara, just across the line from Sunnyvale. And it took me about 2 months to decide I didn't like their ethics. Their main push was to catch draftees who had done their 2 years overseas, came back home, married their high school sweethearts, and wanted to buy a tract home and set up housekeeping. And some of those homes were in terrible shape. And I would advise them such things as, if they were my clients, I think it's worth it to you to be sure to have that roof inspected. It looks to me as though I could need some expensive repairs. Well, they got impatient with me for pushing things like that. All they wanted to do was close the deal, and they had their own escrow proceedings right in the back of their own real estate office, which I questioned the ethics of that, but they got away with it. And about the 3rd or 4th time, I got chided roundly in weekly staff meetings for taking so long, giving that kind of advice in favor of the new home buyer, that after the staff meeting one day, I went into the office of the brother who was the administrator head of the thing, and told him, I'm pulling my license. I can't work for you guys any longer. Why? I told him exactly why. So I pulled my license. They didn't want me to go. They thought they could make me comply with their ethics. Went home and I pulled out my little license. It's about the size of a driver's license. And I told Marge, my wife, I can put this to work any place in the state of California. Where do we want to go? Then we talked, and neither one of us had any hang-ups about moving. I said, the best friends I have in the world live in Santa Rosa. What do you say? Let's visit up there. And we ended up moving to Santa Rosa. And I had picked out 3 real estate firms. When I say pick them out, I read their advertisements of what they had for sale, listed for sale, in the paper, and I went and visited those homes, and the ones that were the most honest in their description of what they were selling were the ones I decided I would be interviewed by them if they would have me, and choose one of them to work with. I got no further than Mr. Gerke. And we hit it off right away. I went to work for him. I was one of 19 sales personnel in his real estate office, counting himself. We're friends to this day. Then Marge's oldest son graduated from UCLA and enrolled in College of Law, Hastings College of Law in San Francisco. And we visited him many times down there during the 3 years he was there. Finally graduated, took the exam, and passed it. And then he decided he would like to set up the practice of law on his own, rather than accept one of the many offers from big corporations to join their staff. And I helped him rent his first office upstairs in the Gerke Realty real estate building. His mother, an accomplished secretary, of course, agreed in the beginning to do his secretarial work. That would minimize his costs in that direction. I agreed to help him because he had learned enough law, theory of law, to pass the 350 examination questionnaire. And now he had to learn how to put it to practice. We made a pretty good team in that regard because as a real estater, I knew where to find out a lot of things that he also needed to learn to find out. Where the microfiche was on who owned what property and how to find out things of all kinds. Where to go, who to get advice from, and so forth. And we made a good team. I let my second 4-year real estate license expire and just stayed on as a paralegal with Mike for over 2 decades. There was one period of time, and I'd been doing so for at least a decade, and I decided maybe I'd better, it was time I weaned him. He had a going practice at this time. I was the best free labor he ever had, and he should be able to support himself, because I wasn't going to be around forever. And besides, well, it just wasn't right. He should stand on his own 2 feet. So I gave him 2 months' notice, discussed it with him, and I told him I was going to volunteer to be an administrative assistant to the pastor of my church. And he agreed with that. He respected that. And I gave him 2 months' notice and finished up some of the work that I'd been doing and joined the church office